Hey, hey, hey. Welcome. If this is your first time watching, my name is Yaziel. If you've been here with me for a while, welcome back. Yes, y'all, it is so. I am pregnant. I know some of y'all seen me getting a little bit bigger, but y'all so kind. Y'all wasn't saying nothing. I was looking at my pictures that I would post in the community area and my thumbnails. And I was like, girl, you getting big. So I am, but it's all good, y'all. I am pregnant. Yes, I am. And I'm going to show y'all. And look how huge I'm getting. I'm actually my weight is what I would normally be when I give birth. So this is my sixth baby, and I am so blessed and so grateful for this pregnancy, because as you've seen in the thumbnails, it took me 4 years to get pregnant this time, and I'm going to break it down. We are going to get into it today and talk about some of my struggles, some of the things that I went through, reasons why I wasn't getting pregnant, and how I was basically infertile for 4 years. Something that I was very nervous about, didn't want to share, didn't want to talk about, but I got the green light to share my testimony on how I healed my body. So if you're interested in this journey, let's talk about it. Let's do it. Okay, so here we go, y'all. I had to take a seat. Seems like everything I do now is just, I'm out of breath. I'm always out of breath. So if y'all see me breathing deep, you already know. It is a lot to carry all this weight, okay? But I am so grateful, and I am so thankful for this part of my journey. I said earlier that I got the green light because for a long time on the journey of trying to get pregnant, first and foremost, let me say that, yes, I do have 5 children, and this is my 6th baby. And dealing with infertility was never a problem until it was a problem. And I think this is what makes this video so important for me to share, is because I thought that having an issue getting pregnant was something that was, once you had it, you were like stuck with it, or I thought I had a lot of limiting beliefs around it. Let's just say that, right? And I've really only heard women that struggle with having children talk about it that don't have children. So for me, it was much of a surprise for myself to start experiencing these issues so at this point in my life. All right, so let's get into it. So first and foremost, I just really want to just take a moment to send love and peace and healing vibes to anyone who has tuned into this video, anyone who is struggling with infertility or trying to get pregnant, or if you are a male and you are trying to find out information to help your significant other with getting pregnant and bringing in a new life. I just want to send you so much love and peace, because I know that this journey can be very stressful, and it can also be very fearful. So I do first and foremost want to just send you that love, and then ask you to just think for a moment Whether you have children, you don't have children, or you are getting ready to start becoming a parent, wherever you are in this journey, I really want you to think about what type of creator do you want to be? Okay, I want you to think about what type of creator do you want to be? Because that is truly what you are. When you are given the privilege, the honor, the gift to create life, then you have to ask yourself, how do I want to do that? Interestingly enough, I never thought about that until now, on my 6th child, because that is how the question was prompted to me. I have been going through a very, very intense spiritual awakening, going through a lot of hurdles, mentally, emotionally, physically. And I was coping and trying to manage all of that in a lot of negative ways. And I didn't realize how all of that stress and my negative coping habits were affecting my body. So when I ask you to think about what type of creator you want to be, I also want you to think about, what are you willing to give up? What are you willing to sacrifice? Because this fertility journey, yes, it's about healing. Yes, it's about being able to give birth and have that child and bring forth that life. But really, it's about transformation. For me, what I was shown on this journey was that for the first time, I was to bring a child into this world that was not created in the same manner, with the same mentality, the same energy, the same lifestyle that I had previously with all my other births. Each child that I've had, each pregnancy that I've had has always required something different, and I have always been going through something, right? The difference in this one is that the pregnancy did not happen until I healed. There were a lot of toxic things that I was doing that we're going to talk about in this video. And what happened was, I was praying, I was affirming, I was asking, I was hoping, I was wishing, I was doing all these things in addition to being very fearful about not being able to get pregnant. And Spirit told me straight up, I seen it in dreams, I seen it in visions, I seen it in multiple ways, that I had to change my lifestyle. That would be the only way that I would give birth to this child, that I would even be able to conceive this child. So before I get to talking about myself, I just want to know, are you willing to make a sacrifice? Are you willing to change some things? Are you willing to do the work, right? Because I'm sitting here, manifested everything that I desired as far as this pregnancy. But I am not going to sit here and smile and sugarcoat and make it seem like it happened with fairy dust and a miracle. It didn't. It was not a miracle. It was consistency. It was sacrifice. It was me realizing that I had to make a change, but also I had a choice. My inner knowing and my inner guidance made it very clear to me. You have a choice. You can continue living the way you're living, doing the things that you're doing, and you will not get what you want. Or you can make the transition. You can stop doing these things that are affecting your body, affecting your health, and preventing you from having this child. The choice is yours. Just something to think about, okay? Because I am someone who, I am very action oriented. I am someone who believe in getting results, but I know that it happens with taking the steps. And I also know that the steps are not going to be easy. One thing I can say for sure is that it took me 4 years to get pregnant again. But within those 4 years, I had many indications of what I needed to do, what I needed to stop, but I didn't want to. I just didn't. I was stressed. I was overwhelmed. I was dealing with PTSD. I was dealing with um, getting over a domestic violence marriage, dealing with divorce, moving. I can name it. My father passed away. My mother had a stroke. And it was so many different things hitting me back to back. We were homeless for almost a year. It never let up. The intensity, the stress, the pain, the heartache. In those 4 years, I probably have been through more pain, heartache than I have in my entire life. And that's honest. And in the midst of all that, I was still trying to get pregnant. Why? Because I'm a wife, right? And I am, at this point, I'm 35 and a half. I'll be 36 in August. So I'm also looking at the time, right? I'm looking at the clock and I'm like, let's see, how much time do I got left, right? How many more years can I be in the child bearing stage? And I've known that there's women who have children when they're in their 40s. So I've even seen women have babies in their 50s, but that's not really what I want to do. Even though I can say that, spirit might be like, you're right. So either way, I was thinking about the timeline, right? On making sure that I can procreate, bring forth life, and have my children in a decent amount of time. Okay. So that was my thought process. And I was trying to be in control of the way I wanted to create, when I wanted to create, in addition to not dealing with any of the major issues that was going on. As I mentioned, I was going through a lot of things, but I was trying to protect my emotions. I was trying to be strong, right? I am a Leo, right? My sun sign is Leo. So I have that fire, I have that passion, and I always feel like I am the leader. I have to be strong. I have to keep it together. Everyone depends on me and I can't be weak. And that is the mentality I had. So while all these heavy hitters were taking place, all these major life-changing events taking place, I kept pushing forward, right? Something I did a lot to deal at that time was drinking. And I was drinking a lot, and so much so that it became my coping mechanism, right? And it wouldn't take a lot for me. A beer here, a beer there, a bottle of wine, but every day, just consistently, right? And I didn't think that it was anything wrong with it because I wasn't driving, I wasn't going out, I was just having my drink and being good for the rest of the day. But in addition to that, I was eating a bunch of junk food, not really eating some days, right? Not really taking care of myself. And then I had a physical injury, so I was taking a lot of pain pills, then I was also prescribed different medications for things to deal with stress, to deal with anxiety. So I'm putting all these toxins in my body at one time, in addition to being emotionally a wreck, trying to balance the whole world on my shoulders. And I never stopped to think, how is any of this going to be good for a new child? How is my environment going to be good for another child? How is my mind? How is my body? I never thought about it. I just kept moving. I just kept going. I just kept trying to make it happen. And I want to stop and ask you, where are you at in your journey right now? Where are you at in life? I know that we can never really have the perfect circumstances to have a child. We really can't. I mean, we could try, but sometimes it doesn't work like that. But if you are given the pause, meaning you're trying to get pregnant and it's not happening, let's take a thought process here and think a little bit deeper. Outside of the lifestyle changes that may need to take place, how are you mentally? How are you emotionally, right? What are some things that you might need to get a hold of? What are some wounds that you might be hiding? What are some things that might be in the back of the closet that you have not looked at, right? That could be affecting your mental, that affects your emotional, which can cause stress on your body and prevent you from being fertile. Okay, this research shows that stress can affect your fertility, male and female. Okay, I know a lot of times women think, oh, I can't get pregnant because of something I'm doing. Come to find out, our male counterpart has a lot to do with it as well. My husband also made some lifestyle changes. When I started making changes, he also made changes because we understood that our life force, what we're putting in our body, what we are consuming, is making up the components to create this life, right? So he made some changes, I made some changes. So I want you to think, are you with someone who are willing to make the changes? Someone who's willing to do this with you to side by side, one step at a time. Because whether you are male or female, if you start on the journey of healing yourself, digging in there, doing your mental, emotional, spiritual work, and your partner doesn't, you have to ask yourself, am I in alignment to bring a healthy child into this world? Right? Now, I'll be the first one to tell you, I never thought about any of this prior to this pregnancy. Never. I was always married, right? I've been divorced twice. And being a wife and being a mother was simply an obligation. It was simply something that I thought that I had to do because I had to do it. It's not that I didn't want to do it. It's just I never thought about the stipulations, the requirements, my body, the way I felt, my thoughts. I never thought about that. I just simply submitted myself to the experience. But as I gotten older, I realized that over time, the neglect of myself and my body and paying attention to certain things caused me to be infertile for 4 years. Does that make sense? Okay. So now, as you are thinking about your own self in this journey, what are some things that you need to look at? I like to say that this is also my very first 100% vegan pregnancy. Yeah, I'm surprised myself too. Every day I'm surprised, believe it or not. Yes, it is completely plant-based. I have not eaten any meat. I have not consumed any alcohol. I have truly transformed myself. And it takes day by day consistency, day by day effort, right? I'm not going to be here to tell you that it's easy, but it's a conscious decision, okay? Now, let's talk about some things that came up for me that I was suppressing, some things that I didn't want to look at. Now, I mentioned that I've never really thought about how I felt. I never really thought about my body. I never really thought about how it all plays a part in being able to get pregnant because it always came easy to me. I can definitely say that maybe I took it for granted. And I want you to think, right? If you have children or if you don't, do you take your body for granted? Do you take your health for granted, meaning that you get up and you feel good enough to walk, you feel good enough to talk, you can see all of your basic necessities, they're running, so you think, oh, I'm good. but are you contributing to the health of your body on a daily basis? This is what I want you to think about. And if you're not, are you willing to start? And we're not just talking about eating healthy, right? We're not just talking about that. Are you consuming the right nutrients? Is your body getting the right minerals, right? I'm not a doctor and I don't have a license to recommend anything. But one thing I did have to do is start putting the right nutrients in my body, right? Balancing our hormones. Hormonal balance is key. It is so important. Find out. I would like for you to do your own research because I don't want to recommend anything because what works for me may not work for you. But what I will say is that I started taking multivitamins, taking my minerals, putting the right things in my body, drinking lots of water, right? Cut out completely meat, dairy, any animal products. This is what I needed to do for my journey, right? I also had to cut out the alcohol completely. It was a zero, right? And the funny part about this is every time I would drink, I would always look at the bottle. It would always show me in my mind's eye, the Surgeon General warning. And I would always look at it. And of course you see, if you are pregnant, do not drink X, Y, and Z. But I would always see that as, if you want to get pregnant, do not drink, right? Because I think that's how Spirit was starting to tell me, like, hey, you need to stop. This is actually affecting you. Even though this warning says if you are, but you are trying to get pregnant and you keep doing it, you keep drinking. So how is this going to help you? I ignored it for a long time, okay? I did. So please don't feel like I'm coming at you to attack you or to make you feel guilty. I'm just here to tell you that I was very reluctant, okay? But I understood at the end of the day when I started doing the research and I started looking up, how does alcohol affect the ovaries? How does it affect the womb? How does it affect my body, my uterus? You will be surprised, okay? So for all of my ladies out there that is watching this, if you struggle with this, if you are your glass of wine a day, or if you are still partying, I just recommend look into it, okay? Yes, there's many times that I got pregnant before this and I had drunk alcohol before, but this time it was different, okay? So now I want to talk about how a lot of my childhood wounding and pain that I went through in relationships came up as well before I got pregnant. It was like I had to do a spiritual cleansing detox. I had to open the closet. I had to go through the attic. I had to do all these things to get pregnant again. And I was like, why do I have to do all of this? I didn't want to do this, believe me. Like, I did not want to do any of it, okay? I didn't. I was fighting it. I was like, I don't want to look at this. I don't want to remember this. I don't want to do this. All I was kicking and screaming. But at the same time, I wanted the result, okay? I wanted to become a mother again. So I want to tell you, this is not going to be easy. And you may kick and scream. You may feel like, oh, I don't want to do it. But at the end of the day, you get what you want and you create a healthy lifestyle at day zero for the child you're bringing in. When you transform your body from the inside out, you're changing your DNA. You're changing your molecular structure. You're changing the fibers of your being. So that means you create a life that has purity, that has less toxins. The DNA of that child is different, okay? I'll be the first one to tell you. When I was born fully addicted to alcohol and drugs. Just was what it was. My mother, she suffered a lot. She went through a lot. It was hard for her to get clean. I also think that this is part of the reason why Spirit really pushed for me to cut out all of the toxic things, because I was born into that. And if I am going to be the generational pattern breaker, if I am going to be the leader of the next generation, I can't bring children into this world in the same condition, right? I truly believe that we are being called to become our highest versions. I believe that we are being called to be the type of creators that are godlike, that are fully empowered, that are full of life force, right? It's just my thoughts. You will know if this is for you. What I'm saying may not be for everyone, right? But what I am talking about is curing yourself, healing yourself from the inside. Not just your body, your mind, your spirit, right? Really getting in tune with yourself in order to bring forth the life that you are being called to bring forth. Because I'll tell you, in those 4 years, I was dreaming about being pregnant. I was thinking about being pregnant. I was seeing signs about being pregnant. So it was like I couldn't get away from it. I felt like it was like, what do they call it when I forget what it's called, but it's the clock. When they say that clock is ticking and you really, really want to get pregnant, I felt that, right? So I also take that as that this life that I am bringing forth is a very important one, that it was destined, right? My children were dreaming about me being pregnant. My son, he was like literally having like dreams, and he was like begging me, Mom, please, right? Please, I want a brother, because I have 4 girls and 1 boy. So he was like begging me, Mom, please, I need a brother. My daughters were dreaming that I was pregnant. So I was getting so many signs, symbols, and messages that even when I wanted to give up, even when I wanted to turn and do the opposite, I couldn't, because I realized that more than just myself was invested in this, right? My husband definitely, he was always like rooting for it and asking me like, hey, are we going to do this? And, let's keep trying and let's make the changes. And he was very supportive as well. Okay. And ultimately, I was very, very, very thankful to be able to get pregnant. And it is a boy. It is a boy. And that is what I wanted so, so, so much. I really did, because I knew how important it was for my son. I knew how important it was for my dad. My dad must be thinking about me right now. Rest in power, Dad. It was very important for my husband, and just everyone. Everybody was so supportive and just loving, and looking forward to this pregnancy. So I'm very thankful for that. So some of the things that I will say about what I did was I took the hard road. Okay. Now I know that some people have the opportunity to get certain drugs and certain treatments to make themselves get pregnant. And if that's your option, if you have that, then, it's a blessing. But I know I didn't have that option. And I was more so pushed by Spirit to do it the natural way. So I'm just trying to encourage you, right? Male or female, I want to encourage you that all is not gone. All hope is not, it's not over. Okay. You can do this. Now, do some research on the things that works for you. If you know you're not putting the right things in your body, if you know you're not eating right, if you know that you are putting a lot of toxins in your bodies, then you have to ask yourself, how will a baby survive in this environment? And for you, for the males, I want you to think the same way. How will my life force be able to support a baby? Okay, that is the most general thing that you can think about. Be conscious, be aware of this, because this is something that I neglected. Okay, then just ask yourself mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, am I ready for this? Okay, do my lifestyle right now support this? Okay, and then you ask and pray and affirm, what are some things that I can do to get myself in alignment? What are some supplements that I could take, right? What are some things that I could use to balance my hormones? Ask yourself these questions, do some research, and then incorporate these things in your daily rituals, okay? These are the things that is very, very important, okay? And then from there, you continue to take care of yourself, getting more active, right? Moving your body, and things like that, that supports your natural health. All right. I don't want to keep you guys too long here. I just wanted to share the testimony of the way that I had to transform my life. I had to give up all of the things that I was doing. And I also had to do my inner work to understand what were the things that was holding me back, right? Self-neglect. I was neglecting myself big time. And that had to stop. I had to get intentional about my healing. I had to get intentional about my womb, right? I had to did research about the power of the womb and how it is very intelligent. Our womb will protect us when we are in survival mode and we are in a situation or in a mental state or an emotional state that's not healthy. Our body will say it is not safe to bring forth life. So I want you to think about that. Are you living in survival mode, right? Are you filled with trauma? Are you living in a hypervigilant way? Are you suppressing emotions? Are you hiding and avoiding your feelings and your emotions and your thoughts? Are you pouring in the wrong things into your mind, into your spirit? All these things matter. I learned the hard way, but they do. Okay? I hope that you found something good in this video. I know it's not really like the traditional way of the way people do things, but you know what? Everybody's doing it the way that they're doing it, right? You have to find what works for you. I really enjoyed this with you guys, and I look forward to talking to you guys more. If you have questions, feel free to ask. If there's anything you want to talk about, feel free to drop it in the comments. I thank you, thank you, thank you. I love you. And don't forget, healing is possible. You just got to do the work. Talk to you later.